when you look into the people that win the lottery or things like that, they become miserable. Why? Because we're talking about the same concept. When you start getting all this money all of a sudden, or all these big successes, if you have not asked yourself those bigger questions, if you're not prepared to receive success, to receive those big things, then it's just going to be a mess.
Hello world. I'm so happy and grateful to have this opportunity to finally interview Alvaro Nunez. He is a super successful real estate agent from Miami, an entrepreneur, an influencer, skydiver, helicopter pilot, and also a best-selling author. His book, Level Up, Turning Your Obstacles into Superpowers, has helped people all over the world to find hope and light in every situation. Turning your obstacles into superpowers also means transforming challenges and difficulties into sources of strength and growth instead of letting obstacles holding you back. In today's interview, we want to hear Alvaro's personal story and learn how to transform obstacles into beautiful miracles. Welcome to my podcast.
Ooh, nice.
Yes. Finally, I have this opportunity to meet you almost in person.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, also to meet you, and congratulations what you're doing in the podcast. It's fantastic. We're always talking about I, me, and I know this podcast you're interviewing me, so it's like, oh, me.
But it is about you. It's all about
right,
you.
but at the end of the day, I feel like we live in such an egocentric society that everything that we do, it's for ourselves. And it is important, to take care of yourself, because without you being in a high-end position, you're not able to take care of others. So that's very important. However, when we push too much towards that route, then we start becoming attached to that feeling. We start becoming, a bit more egocentric. And there was a saying that somebody said that it was really good, which is the difference between confidence and arrogant is how you control that mind, because there's a fine line. There is a fine line between being very confident and being arrogant. And that fine line, honestly, is just about your mind. If you're not able to control your mind the way that you walk through that journey, then you're going to be pushing things away rather than attracting more. And everything is about attracting the right things to your life. And that's how you, in my opinion, think that you can start building a great foundation for long-term happiness, long-term peace, and all these different things that we all want in life.
I like that. What is your secret? How do you control your mind when your emotions are so present and actually want to react, but you're controlling your mind to say the right thing, to feel the right thing, to be conscious about your energy? What do you do?
A lot of things that people can do, right? And it's not just an overnight change. It's the compound effect. What you do on a daily basis is how you're really going to improve that mindset, that control over your mind. Things that have helped me: meditation, I give some credit, but at the end of the day, it's every situation that you face in life is making you stronger as long as you're aware, right? If you did something that you were not very happy with, if you're aware of it, write it down so that you can practice the next time. We live in a society where we always react to things that are around us. And I do react sometimes, I'm tired and people tell me something, I might, react right away. And I'm aware of it. So I'm like, why did I react? So I love to always go through. It's not about apologizing. It's basically being aware and having that awareness is what will help you in the long term to make adjustments. Because if you don't make adjustments and you just keep doing the same thing, you're just creating more force towards not controlling your mind. So it's all about observing. Observing is what helps you build that self-awareness. And then instead of reacting, you want to observe and then you act. And those are just two little things that have helped me a lot. But something that anybody can just start thinking more and more is about what are the things that you're afraid of. Something that I've been saying a lot towards my friends and family members that I really care about making that change in their lives when they feel stuck. Life begins on the other side of fear. So if you start doing things that you're afraid of and you do that on a daily basis, you're going to create that strength over your mind that when you are doing those things that you're afraid of, you are very present. And I'll tell you that when I skydive or I'm flying helicopters or I'm doing things that might look very scary, they are scary. And not because I've done them multiple times, it gets less scary. it actually becomes scarier because you know the risk that are involved in those kind of things. So you are very present in that moment. You need to be fully focused on what you do, because if you're not present, then you might collide. You might have a fatal accident. So when you are afraid of doing something and you still do it anyways, all your attention is going to be placed on that. So you're developing that control over your mind to do it regardless, to pay full attention. And that over time creates the compound effect of strengthening and controlling your mind.
Okay, wow. Amen. Just how the way you just explain it to us is incredible. And when you also just mentioned that you're doing this helicopter pilot and you are a skydiver, so you're always up there somewhere, not afraid of heights. And that also means you're not afraid of success, because you have somehow to have all this success, this weight on your shoulder, and you're ready for it. You know where you're going, and you know that you can take the risk, because at the end of the day, it counts what's up here.
I love that, by the way. That's a great analogy, and I'll tell you that.
Never thought about that?
I've heard about it, and I asked myself a question that opened my eyes a few years ago, right? Because when you start having little successes that turns into bigger successes, a lot of people all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, I was not ready for success. And then you don't even know how to continue from there. And then you believe that it was just luck, like sold a multi-million-dollar home right in my first year. I'm like, oh my God, was this just luck? And then because you are not ready for that big push, but then you get there and you're like, no, I deserve to be here. And you start counting your blessings and your strengths and your reasons on why you are deserving that success. And you start visualizing again, bigger and bigger and bigger. Like you level up, right? Like the name of the book, you level up, and you need to level up your mindset. So one of the things that you just said is very cool, because I remember asking myself, okay, what would I do if I make $10 million? And I was not feeling nervous. I was not feeling scared. I was not feeling like lost. I actually had a really strong, cool answer, because it was aligned with my vision. It was just going to amplify who I am. It will just accelerate the process towards reaching that vision. So I asked myself, what about 100 million? And then all of a sudden I started to think for a second. It's like, whoa, with $100 million, I don't even know. That's a lot of money. And then I asked myself, what about $1 billion? And it was so out of my reach, that $1 billion mentality, that I'm like, and I even started sweating as I started thinking about what I could do with that. And not in a selfish way, but it's like, okay, can I help? Because I was this year, for example, in Kenya, and I was visiting some of the schools and helping some of the kids. It's like, wow, it would be amazing to help build a school. So I guess like the question that you said is, how can you ask yourself those questions that are going to elevate the way that you think? And sometimes we're not even asking ourselves those questions because we're thinking too small. So the moment that we are getting closer towards success, we stop, because it's like unknown territory. No, again, everything happens twice. First in your mind and then in reality.
Do not be afraid of any heights.
And if you're afraid, just do it.
And just jump. But as you said, your book, Level Up and Turn Your Obstacles into Superpowers. So there must be a personal story of yours that I just want to dig a little deeper into your past. And I love that. I want to see what you experienced before to be this person today, So what was the biggest obstacle in your life to call this book, to turn your obstacles into superpowers? Because I believe that your superpower today is to sell homes, to have an attitude and altitude up there, and to see the world from a different perspective. But what
By the way, I like that. Have that attitude and altitude. That's a good one.
The bigger
I'll write it down.
attitude, the better the altitude, And that's what I also say in life. I'm a very optimistic person, and I believe I'm out there in space. This is my altitude, because I know that only good things can happen. And I'm not cocky. I'm just, I'm a woman with a lot of self-esteem because I'm coming from obstacles.
So you know the path. You know the path. And back to your question, it was not just one thing that changed my life. It's a compound of things that have happened throughout my journey that have helped me level up, right? Because a lot of people, they often dream about something and then they face an obstacle and they get derailed. and then they stop dreaming. They give up on that dream. And some people don't even take that leap of faith to start dreaming because just the fact of dreaming feels too scary, or the people around them are already putting them down. So it was just a matter of deciding to take that leap of faith on things that seemed impossible or seemed crazy in your environment. Because every time that you try to do something bigger, you're going to have some resistance within yourself, within your environment, but everything is going to be pulling you back. So that's the moment that you realize that this is the way that I need to move forward. Anything that you do, and I love always this concept, is say, share it with the world. And if they're not telling you that you're not crazy, you're not dreaming big enough. I remember I was 16 and we were talking about, okay, what's the next move? We're facing a huge crisis in Spain. My family is losing basically everything. And we don't know what to do next, right? Like from living in a very comfortable environment with anything that we needed, all of a sudden everything started to go to the ground. Family had health issues as well. So my path was to become a professional tennis player, but that path no longer seemed appealing because of what we were facing. So I remember we were having a discussion at home on what could be the next move. I didn't want to give up on tennis. So I remember my mother is the one that suggested and encouraged me to proceed towards moving to the US with a scholarship. So everyone else around is like, oh, you're crazy. Why would you go to the US? Why don't you, and that's when you do it anyways. And when you do it anyways, you're starting to feel that uncomfortable situations of getting out of your comfort zone. But that's where you start growing. Same thing once you are in the US, what happens? Like I can tell you so many moments throughout the journey that have been very difficult. And yet those are the moments where you grow. A lot of people during COVID, you see a lot of wealth that was created during those years, and a lot of people that lost basically everything. So you need to look into how people respond to those obstacles. And any journey that you follow of successful people, it has always ups and downs. And for me, it's not just one thing, it's the compound of all of them. But how you respond to that.
How you respond to that, exactly. How important is your surrounding?
Well, I mean, it's the same, right?
Are you choosing picky consciously? Who's spending more time with you and with whom you're spending less time with?
I think we always have this syndrome of people pleasing, or at least a lot of us,
especially
where
in the
we
US.
always.
Sorry.
Yeah.
The European people, they're just like, sorry, I don't want to sit with you. But the American people, they're very nice. Let's catch up. Let's meet again.
Yeah, let's catch
That's
up.
what I experienced.
Let's do that.
And you never catch up because it's a lie. You don't want to see this person again.
You don't want to see the person.
Yeah.
It is true.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're just trying to be polite. But I think that's something that has happened a lot. And throughout, even in Europe, okay, I'm from Spain, I'm from Madrid. So for me, growing up in Spain, it was all about like, okay, you are always socially well developed. Like you're always meeting people, you're always with the tapas, meeting, going out, this and that. Family is always a huge thing. So you're always like meeting everybody. But at the end of the day, not because it's your family or it's your friend from childhood, you need to keep on hanging out with these people, right? Eventually, at some point, you realize in your life, what matters is how you invest your time, your energy, your financial. And when you start looking into that, then you're like, okay, who do I want to invest that with? First, you want to invest that in yourself. A lot of people forget about that. Start investing time, money, energy within yourself.
What is an investment and what is time wasting? Where is like a small little line where people think, okay, I'm going to indulge myself, but this is actually something for myself. For other people, it's like money wasting or time wasting.
You need to look what's the reward, like what's the balance, right? Like what's the long-term reward versus short-term reward, and you just need to do the balance. Because if I eat a pizza, I might feel great on the moment because I was craving it, right? But how is that going to help me in the long term? Like, what do I want to accomplish? Do I want to accomplish to be fit and do this and that? That's not going to help me. So it's all about always playing the long-term game. A lot of people in everything you do, right? In everything you do, long-term game, invest in relationships. I don't want to invest on somebody that, like, even on dating, right? Why would I want to just have fun for one night if I can invest on someone that I really see something in the long term? And that applies to anything, in business, in your health, in your social life. Why would you want to go out and start getting wasted if you know that one of your goals is to do an Ironman? I'm just looking into the things that matter today for the better tomorrow. And cravings is attachment. Sometimes we have so much attachment to things because that's how we grew up, because those were the things that they gave us as a kid, or we did that we loved. Doesn't matter. Break the code. You know, when you ask me the question, do you pick the people that you hang out with?
Mhm.
I do pick the people that I hang out with. And it's not that I pick, oh, I like this person, and I'm gonna hang out with them. No, honestly, you just first invest. I pick myself. I pick myself to invest time with. I love spending time alone, and I'm a very social
Important.
person. And I'm a very social person. In fact, you can ask anybody, and I connect very well with people, right? Because it's all about having that reciprocity, and I love, in fact, to know more about people's stories, to engage in healthy and interesting conversations is the most beautiful thing. But first, you need to have that conversation with yourself. And once you get to know yourself and you start knowing the direction that you want to go, what you want to do, then you start identifying the path that you want to go. And if you know that you want to have a healthy lifestyle, why would you start hanging out with people that love to drink and go out until 6 a.m.? That's not the environment. So you're not choosing particularly people, you're choosing environments, you're choosing lifestyles. And hey, you can pick up the best from every place. Sometimes I want to have a good time and go out at night, and I go with that group. It doesn't mean that I'm going to do that every day, you know?
Mhm.
So you start creating your own environment by combining whatever is good for you. So first step, get to know yourself.
Get to know yourself. Yeah. Do you read people by their energies? Because I see
So
that you're
important.
very, yeah, I think you can do that because you do all these things. Like, I believe that how you perform from 8 to 5 is what happens at home when no one is actually present, you know, except your family and your wife. Because you can
Mhm.
tell if this person is happy when he's at work, if he's successful. That means you don't have this mind fuck at home, someone who's knocking every time. You know, I'm sorry about the way I'm expressing myself, but it's real life, you know. And then you see when when this person is not happy at home, he's not happy at work, because everything is like linked together. You agree
So
with
true. 100%. And it goes back to the same thing, right? Like you start with yourself. What follows that is your temple, your home. Like what do you have at home? Is it your family that is at home? Is it the things that you have at home? Is it the type of food that you have at home? Is the type of whatever it is? But you start with yourself, and what
that?
follows next is your temple, is your home. And then
Yeah.
you keep on expanding. But so true. And people don't realize that we spend half of our times at
At
home
home.
because we're sleeping at home, we're eating at home, sometimes we're doing this at home. Like, you know, it is so important. And whoever you're sharing those moments with, or whoever is sharing that space with you, needs to be aligned. We need to be creating those, you know, paths where everybody aligns. And it doesn't mean that aligning, you're doing the same things, you like the same things. That's not the case. We're talking about the foundation. And when it comes to the energy, the positivity, the support, like there are values. I think values are the foundation of anything. And when you have similar values, then you can walk that path together. And then you can have different interests, which is actually even more interesting, right? To have different things, because then you feed each other with new things. And that's where you start being more curious and you grow as a person. 100% what you're saying. Look at your home. Once you've had that conversation with yourself and you're very self-aware with what you want and you're very aligned with where you're heading, same thing with your environment at home. And then what about your workspace? What about this and this? And that's how you start building a really strong environment.
You know that I just had like a aha moment with myself now, that the key of your home symbolizes your life. What is that you eat? What is that you wear? Who's at home? What energy is there? It's like the key to your life. You better
Mm-hmm.
have it like as bright as possible, because
Yeah.
this is the key to your future. What you have in the present moment, what is waiting for you every time you go back home. Wow, that's deep. And you're selling homes. I mean, do you see that with people when you sell these beautiful, super expensive luxury homes? Do you see that people are deep, or they're just like going for whatever looks good at the outside?
You find everything, right? You find all kinds of different people that have different interests. Some people just care about how it looks. Some people care more about the actual energy that the house provides. However, I will tell you that you need to really go deep down into the interests of every person so that you can help them find whatever they're looking for. Some people even don't care. It's just an investment. Is it going to generate me X amount of return investment? So you find everything. But when especially you're looking at those super high-end properties, most of the time is for the final end user. It's not so much of an investment. It's something that is emotional. That's where you don't, that's why price after a certain amount, it fluctuates a little bit. Like it's not so much like you get to the nitty gritty because the comparisons are a bit different and it becomes more of emotional decision, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, of course, there is the financial and the comparables and all the things that you're looking for, but the emotional factor plays a big role when it's talking about those high-end properties. So the emotional could mean so many things. It could be more because, oh, I love this home to host people and it looks great and this and that. And some people love more that homey vibe, good energy, where they really want to raise a family. So everybody has different intentions and different feelings.
Sometimes the bigger the home, the bigger the problem. If you're just lonely.
Well, you know, that's again.
Yeah.
But you know that this is not just about the house. This is sometimes just in life. When you look into the people that win the lottery or things like that, they become miserable. Why? Because we're talking about the same concept. When you start getting all this money all of a sudden, or all these big successes, if you have not asked yourself those bigger questions, if you're not prepared to receive success, to receive those big things, then it's just going to be a mess. However, if you're ready, you're just going to amplify who you are. So it's very important to start building the strong foundation within yourself. And then from there forward, life is beautiful.
Then it becomes a miracle, not an obstacle.
Aha. Hey, there you go. I love it. I love it.
I love these acknowledgements. So when was the last time you were fearful? Because it sounds like you're a super person, like a super positive person and very alive. But what is in the shadow side of your subconscious mind?
The word afraid is something that I try to take away from my dictionary. Like fear, I don't look things as fear. I look more as concern. Like I could be concerned about certain things. And that's another important thing, right? Like the strength that these words have in your life, because whatever you say, it takes the way that you move in life. So I'm trying to always change certain words towards the ones that have a better connotation in what I want in life. So instead of fear, I say, concern. Instead of stress, I say, other things. Instead of this, tired. Like, like you start working on the words. So back to your question about fear, I'm more concerned about not living a fulfilled life. Now, what does it mean, not living a fulfilled life? A lot of people don't live life, So why will you wait until certain times to do certain things when all you have is now? It's great to have a vision because that's what's pushing you forward in that direction. But don't wait until tomorrow to do what you can do today. And I think that my biggest concern is to not live life to its fullest. I want to reach a point in my life where if I ever look back, is to just smile and be so grateful for all the adventures, all the relationships, all the different things that we've been building over the years and the amazing impact that I probably could have put into the world. Because that's the end of the day, what matters the most. Like now, for example, using the power of social media and the easy approach to reach so many people. The moment that you start inspiring and empowering people, it's so amazing. So I'm concerned to not utilize what I have right now. You can call it a gift, you can call it an opportunity, you can call it whatever you want to call it. But my concern is not to use whatever I have access to today to make a positive impact, to live my life to the fullest, to help those that I can help. Why would I wait? So that's my biggest concern, AKA fear.
I love that. And it sounds so easy because I see that you're not afraid to jump. But a lot of people, they are afraid to jump because they don't know what's expecting them in the unknown situations. And what would be like your advice to all these people who are just afraid to jump into the unknown?
Start with the small things that you're afraid of. Making that phone call, or going for that little race, or asking somebody on a date, or start with the little things that are accessible yet they feel so difficult because you're afraid of doing them, right? It's about creating that compound effect, building that momentum. And it's always like that. I didn't get one day and be like, oh my God, hell yeah, let's start climbing the tallest mountains in the world and flying helicopters, skydiving, going into these crazy races across the Sahara Desert, or start a business and move to the US. Like, I can tell you so many different things that might look so crazy in the eyes of others. Yet, those were crazy things for me as well. But when I started that journey of leveling up, I didn't start with those dreams, those goals, those things that I was concerned or afraid of. It was about doing the little things that seemed very difficult, and I was very afraid, like everyone else, right? Like when I remember starting the business, it was like a crazy thing. Like, oh my God, starting a business, like insane. Like I was so afraid. So I started to do little things. So it's about creating momentum by overcoming little fears. So make a list. What are you afraid of? Make a list. Oh, I'm afraid of, swimming with this and that, or going to this. Go. I'm afraid of spending time alone. Okay, take a solo trip for a weekend. Like whatever it is, make that list and start checking them. That's going to build so much confidence, because the key word here is confidence. Once you start building confidence, you will start building momentum. Once you start building momentum, you're going to start leveling up the way that you're thinking. And one day you're going to be like, oh my God, I want to go for this bigger goal. I call it my misogi, right? The challenge that you put. A misogi is a Japanese term for the most difficult challenge that you're afraid of, that you want to take on, that is going to really expand yourself as a human.
What's the word? Mazogi or
misogi.
Misogi. Okay. Thank you. That's
so that's another term that everybody should look into in terms of, okay, what is my misogi for the year? What is that massive goal that I'm so afraid of, but I'm going to do it regardless and work? And because the moment that, again, you start accomplishing these little things that all of a sudden turn into bigger things and all of a sudden become into massive things, once you start accomplishing those massive things, you become unstoppable. It's that mindset.
Like, and unpredictable as well.
I'll tell you something.
People don't know what's your next move. No one knows what's the next move.
I'll tell you something super funny. Again, just like real quick. I had a friend of mine. She sent me a message this morning saying, Alvaro, what the hell are you doing? Like, I never can keep up with you. Every time I go into Instagram, you're doing something insane. Now you're rappelling down the longest salt cave in the world at darkness. Like, you crazy. What's happening? And then she said the next message, so what's next? I'm sure that I'm going to get into Instagram, and the next thing I'm going to see is you jumping out of a plane in the Dead Sea into some weird place. And the funny story is that I did that like literally 2 hours before she texted me that. So I'm like, well, you might be surprised, but yeah, done. Here you go. So, people, and again, you don't do it for the people, but what I'm saying is that
do it for yourself.
It is something that it becomes so magical once you start building that momentum, because life, a lot of people dream, right? My life is my dream. I'm living my dream. And that's the most beautiful feeling ever. Once you unlock your limits, life becomes your own dream. And that is something that is very profound, very beautiful. That took me a lot of experiences and years to realize that the moment that you unlock your limits, your own life becomes that dream. And it's just beautiful.
Why do you think are we living in that system where we have these limitations?
It's part of society. I mean, we need that, right? A lot of people need comfort. And again, it's not that my type of lifestyle is meant for everybody. Not everybody's going to be happy living the way I live. Some people, it will give them a heart attack just to even think about it. Some people love to raise a family and have the comfort of knowing that they have a secure job, so that they can use that money to provide for the family and then go like a few days a year into a trip, and they're very happy. And that's amazing. People live their life however they want to live. Now, the ones that are stuck in a way of not knowing really the direction that they want to go, or they had a dream and they gave it up, that's when the concept of level up comes into place. So yes, society wants us to be prepared in that way. It's not a matter of going in one direction and that's the way that we're going to live forever. You can always get out of that system if you want to, and if that's really the way that you want to go. But at least we need to give ourselves the chance. the chance to ask ourselves, is this really the life that I want to live? So we go back to what we discussed at the beginning. Ask yourself, have that conversation within you, and then start developing the life that you want to live.
It sounds so easy when you explain it.
You're right.
Probably that is your gift. Do you think that there is, where is the line between free will and destiny? You know what I mean? When you're a super spiritual person. I mean, it's very, very hard to put in words, but we have free will and we also have a destiny. And where is this line where we can decide for ourselves to take the next right move?
Look, I think if I understood the question correct, is that everybody at the end of the day have the free choice to think however they want, right? You can watch TV, you can watch the news, you can be doing something that you've done every day, the same thing for the past 20 years, yet you're still able to think however you want. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of waking up. And once you wake up, you can have conscious decisions of doing what you're doing. If I choose to go to a 9-to-5 job because I know that that's the job I love doing, and I know that's the support financially that I will receive to support my family, and I'm choosing to do that because I want, and I'm conscious about it, mm-hmm. then hey, free willing to do what I want. The problem is when you reach a point where it's like, oh my God, I need to work to pay bills, and then I need this, and then you get into this rabbit hole, and then so it's just a matter of self-awareness. Don't just live life reactively. And it's back to the same concept of what we started in this conversation. Observe your environment, observe yourself, observe what's happening, observe. Once you start building that self-awareness, you realize, okay, I understand what's happening. And then once that's the case, then stop reacting. Sometimes we're reacting to life. It's like we're reacting all the time. It's like, no, you're observing. Now you decide what you want to do. So sounds easy. It's not. It requires daily work. That's why sometimes to block time for yourself every day is fundamental. Because otherwise, we wake up, first thing we do, phone, oh shit, missed call, email, this, the news, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, this, TikTok, Oh shit, I need to get ready for work. Oh, I'm late for work. I get to work. Then day is over. Oh, I'm so tired. Order this, order that. Go to sleep. Repeat the next day the same thing.
Less is more.
Week pass by, month pass by, year pass by. What have you done with your life? Mm-hmm. Just acting reactive.
Exactly. And there's also this question, social media is so present in our lives where we're forgetting to actually be social in real life and also to work on ourselves, because you're constantly like have this distraction in your hands.
So true.
And
you use it or they use you.
Exactly. Do you use it consciously or are you used by social media? And especially now with the Generation Z, I've been talking to a lot of Generation Z kids, and it's scary to know that they're feeling like they're missing out something if they're not just posting every day a story or a post or a reel. And you know, it's really scary. I don't know what you think about that, but the world is shifting. I understand, but still these values, what we talked before, are so important to carry on to our children. Because if this is continuing to go like this, I don't see that anybody will, have this life that you live today, because they're constantly like out there, but not here with themselves.
It's so true and so sad. And look, it's just reality, And I think that, as we said, you either use social media or it uses you. If you use it, that means not using and posting. It means that you're using for something better. I use it because it's part of my business. It has helped me with the real estate and media company. It has helped me on a personal level to reach out to incredible people just with one DM, to inspire people, to empower people, to connect with brands, to also get inspired, because I also follow people that I actually love seeing what they do. So that's what I do with social media. But I'm not scrolling just like with the thing down, eating a pizza. No. And then feeling miserable because people, they compare themselves. Yeah. Comparison is the biggest thief of joy you can ever have. And what happens is that
that's so right.
And people start comparing. People compare themselves on a daily basis. And what for, it's not about comparing yourself to others, it's about comparing yourself to yourself. It's like, okay, who was I yesterday? Who was I today? And then you start like competing against yourself and slowly pushing yourself forward. And if you look into other people's lives, it's just to feel inspired, empowered, to get ideas, educate yourself, and not to feel miserable. Then you're killing the whole purpose of social media. And look, a lot of people stopped following me. They blocked me, not in a bad way, because I'm actually very grateful that my environment, even on social media where you can see everything, it's been very positive, and everybody has been super encouraging, supporting. Everybody loves, to see what they see. But some people, friends of mine, all of a sudden, we were having a conversation, and it's like, oh, what have you been up to? And I said, well, I mean, I've been posting about it. You didn't see? Like, oh man, I gotta tell you something, and don't get mad, but I had to stop following you. It's like, really? How come? It's like, it was making me sick. I was like, really? Is that bad? It's like, no, like it's great, but I have issues. Like, actually seeing you doing everything that you're doing, it makes me mad, because I'm not there, and we grew up together, and how come you're doing this and I'm not, and I feel like shit, and da da da.
Wow.
And that was a wake up moment for me as well, to think, wow, I'm not a guy that talks like, oh, look how good I am and you're a piece of shit. No, but sometimes I post like I go for a marathon at 4 a.m. on a Monday, and people are just like waking up at 9 a.m. They went out on Sunday, they're hangover, they're starting the week like shit, and they see this guy doing a marathon, they feel bad. I'm not trying to make people feel bad with whatever I'm posting. I'm trying to make people wake up. If you're feeling bad, that's good. That's on you. But at least that's a wake up call. That's something that is telling you, okay, you need to do something. Don't get away. Don't push away from certain things that hurt you, because sometimes you need that. You need that little kick, and then how you maneuver later on, it's up to you. But those are the things that you can face with social media.
I also had this experience where people told me that I'm too happy for them. That's why they unfollowed me, because I do my Hello World stories, and I'm always positive. Because when I'm positive, I like to share the energy, because I'm so full of myself. Please take it because I'm here. But if I'm not posting, I'm working on myself. And then I want to be consciously distancing myself from the social media world, because I like to be very connected with myself. But then people think that I'm crazy. Maybe she doesn't feel well or something's on, No, actually, I'm even better behind the camera than in front of the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I love that. That's amazing.
But you said this is so real, and it also shows us that people might know that they're not following the right direction, and they see you posting all these beautiful things, living the life of your dreams, and they're questioning themselves, like, what have I been doing the last 10 years? Because Alvaro created this beautiful life overseas, and I'm here maybe in Spain, cleaning something or working at McDonald's. I don't know. Even this is a job, and we should all be grateful for it. But leveling up means maybe I can clean and work at McDonald's, and I can do something else.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. That's right. 100%.
It's like little levels up, and then the miracles come year by year.
That's true. Level up is a mindset. It's a lifestyle. It's something that you do on a daily basis. It's part of your journey. And then, as you said, those obstacles that turn into superpowers are what later on turns into miracles. And it's just an ongoing basis.
I love that. What is your absolute favorite quote you live by?
Actually, the one that I put in the book to start with: the biggest adventure you can ever live is to live the life of your dreams, by Oprah Winfrey.
Oh.
And it is beautiful.
Well said. Have you ever had a coach or a mentor?
Yeah, I mean, growing up as an athlete, I had a coach for sure, for tennis, for training, for psychology. So I understood the importance of coaching. And then later on, you apply that to anything else that you do in life, right? Like when I started the business, it's like, okay, who is the best in this industry, and how can I hire this person? Because when you don't know people, you want to accelerate your growth by bringing into your corner the best of the best, even though if that's an investment. But again, you're investing in yourself. So I've always had coaches, and I think it's a time machine. You can get in a little short amount of time what you will be getting in 5 years. So for those starting, or even for those that are already at a good level, always the coaches are going to help you get a little bit farther. I coach people and I have people that coach me. So that's just the way of life.
Same with me, by the way. I know we just met, but I also do coachings and I also provide coachings. It's interesting.
Amazing.
You never know what person can give you like this little piece that is missing inside of you, or mentally as well, where you can apply it into your own life. You see the result, you can show the result to the world, and then you can tell a story like, this is the way I created it.
100%.
Yeah, I see that we have a lot in common, and I really love that. And
we'll have to do a second one.
I also believe we have to do a second podcast.
Wir können das auf Deutsch machen, kein Problem.
Ja, genau. So I gotta close this first little episode. Whoever wants to follow you, and please stay as a follower. Don't jump away. He's just here to inspire you and to show that everything is possible. They can follow you on @Alvaro Nunez, right, on Instagram. And they can book you as a coach. You live in Miami, is that correct?
Yeah, correct.
Stay who you are. I like the person I see today, and I really hope we can meet in person. The day will come.
100%.
Sure. Yes.
Look, energy attracts, so I'm sure that we'll attract each other more than just through the screen. We'll see each other in person, and I appreciate you having me here today. Congrats again on what you're doing, because I feel like utilizing social media and the platforms to encourage others to get that knowledge, to get that kick in the ass, to get that inspiration, that empowerment is really one of the most powerful things that we can do to uplift our society. So thank you for having me, and I hope that this conversation helped many people.
Thank you so much.